question is on renewable energy. What specifics?
I got $1 billion plan.
What specific steps will you take to expand wind and solar energy investments in New Mexico, Senator Cervantes?
Many of you may have watched the last session. I'm disappointed Senator Cervantes couldn't stick around. May have watched the last session, Senate Bill 247. This was the PNM bill. You all may have heard about that securitization bill. I chair the Senate Conservation Committee in the Senate because my colleagues expect me to find the right balance between renewable energies and the rest of our economy and find the right place for water and all of our natural resources. And I share the Congresswoman's pride. I have a 100% voting record with conservation voters in New Mexico. So my commitment to renewable energy is really unquestioned by my votes. And my colleagues have asked me to make sure that I take the lead on renewable energies in our state. I've done so by working with Mariel. You all may know Mariel Nanasi in this community, New Energy, and I've worked with her on legislation to assure that we allow the market to have its true operating force. And that's what happened this last session. I'm looking at some of the people that worked with me on Senate Bill 247 this last session. Look, what Senate Bill 247 didn't do was this, and this is what I've been trying to work on, is recognize the economy and the economic forces are driving down the cost of renewable energy resources. Solar and wind energy resources have come down by 40%. California is 10 years ahead of schedule in converting to renewable energy resources simply because the costs have come down. The legislation that I have been pushing and proposing and insisting on is that PNM buy its energy from the most cost-effective sources available. And today that means wind and solar energy resources. Senate Bill 247 would have shut down the 2 remaining coal units in San Juan County. And in that regard, it was a good bill. In that regard, the renewable portfolio acceleration was a good bill. But what it did do, and ultimately I was the deciding vote to kill that legislation, was it took out the role of the Public Regulation Commission and the economy itself. It would have allowed PNM to make decisions without going to the most cost-effective source of energy. That's how we invest in solar and wind energies, is by going to the most cost-effective sources. The economy will do it for us.
Mr. Apodaca.
Well, you heard I have $1 billion plan. So I won't go into too much details, but when you talk about 225,000 new jobs, go to our website, take a look at the breakout. In fact, we do these town halls, we call Turnaround Tuesdays, and we do them live on Facebook, and we take questions. And 2 weeks ago, we actually talked about how we talked about the breakout of these jobs. Folks, renewables literally pay between $60,000 and $80,000 a year. And then most of the technology today that's being developed within solar and wind and even geothermal is literally right here in our state, between our labs and our universities. And we're the ones driving the lower cost. So by investing in that, we can create almost 20,000 new jobs in our state when you look at multiple levels. And go to our website and take a look at that. But at the same time, we have to diversify, and that's what we're talking about. Now, at the same time, you're going to hear about collaboration. To be successful in the private sector and put private-public partnerships together, you have to collaborate with people. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of us against them. I'm tired of making decisions based on my political career. So as your governor, what I'm going to do, because I've already done it, guess who I've sat with who's going to invest with us in renewables? Oil and gas. Guess who I've sat with who's going to invest with us into infrastructure to make sure we sell our energy at 11 to 18 cents a kilowatt to our neighboring states, the PNMs of the world. Guess who's a perfect example of what we could do in our state? Taos, Kit Carson. So folks, there are already examples here. We're literally driving costs down. But at the same time, there are literally companies coming out of Los Alamos and Sandia Labs that are developing cost-effective, lower solar panels. But guess what? They're all going to move out of state and manufacture that technology outside our state because we don't invest into them. We don't invest into infrastructure. One of the companies has literally created a solar panel that we can put on high rises in New York City to power buildings right here in Los Alamos and Sandia. They're about to move because we don't invest into New Mexico technologies. And that's the difference in this governor versus those two.
Congresswoman.
Well, let's do more specifics here since the other candidates were disappointed in one of my answers. When I was at the Bernalillo County Commission, you both have to pass the legislation or the resolution, and then you have to execute the program. which is one of the wonderful things about working in local government. It was also something wonderful about working in state government. We would have an idea, we'd have to get it passed in the legislature, and then we'd have to actually execute that program. So we put solar on all the government buildings, and we started with the government buildings that we owned and operated for our county employees, and then moved it in and made it a requirement for contractors. So here are the plans so that you know that you're not just talking about renewable energy. You got to get it done. One, you have to commit and get passed that we're going to have renewable portfolio standards, RPSs, so that you're laying the groundwork. So I've committed to 50% by 2030 and 80% by 2040. To do that, you have to finish the transmission lines, which we don't have done in New Mexico. And if they don't get done by 2020, then we don't have access to the federal tax credits. I'm committed to doing that, and I'm doing that work right now in Congress. In addition, you have to lay the infrastructure for broadband. If you don't have broadband and connectivity, you can't move any of this energy anywhere. We can't export it, we can't sell it, you can't do it. All right, so I've got a $100 million broadband bill, and I've been embedding broadband money in every piece of legislation, and some of that's already been appropriated and approved through the omnibus. Working to make sure it stays in a passable farm bill. I feel good that we'll get over the finish line, not sure exactly when. We're going to join all the regional transmission authorities. We're going to join the U.S. Climate Alliance so that we're participating with all the other states that are moving in renewable energy. And we're going to lead by example by making sure that the state puts solar in all of its state buildings. This is how you set a plan to make sure that you're doing renewable energy starting right now and then doing that for the future.